welcome my students to comic class, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new story arc that has happened in the Batman James Tynion run, and that is Ghost Stories. So yeah, Ghost Stories just wrapped up about a few days ago, and I decided to make this video. So I read all the material I need to read today. I read the entire story arc, and yeah, I'm going to bring it to you today. As always, guys, I do encourage you to go read the official story. I will leave a link in the description down below to where you can go read it and support it officially. I'm not going to be talking about everything that happens in this arc because I do encourage you to go read it for yourself. But I'm going to give an overview of what happens in general. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. So Batman the Ghost Stories is a 4-part story arc, and the first issue of the story arc basically starts off with the Ghostmaker. Now, the Ghostmaker is Batman's childhood rival. Basically, when Batman was learning how to do martial arts all around the world and getting every skill he needed to become Batman, he had a rival that was learning these things as well. And when Batman became Batman, Ghostmaker became, Ghostmaker. So we get to see that Ghostmaker in the beginning of the story arc is basically getting information from a crooked cop, and basically is going to use that information to try to clean up the streets of Gotham. So he pretty much means business. Now we get to see that Batman during this time is actually investigating some sort of clown area that these people that dress up like the Joker hang out at, some type of clown bar. And when he arrives there, he realizes that he is tricked because there is no sign of life in this area, and it seems like the Ghostmaker actually killed every member of the Joker gang that was residing in this bar. It was a pretty brutal scene to see all these Joker followers just dead on the ground and in the bar. Now we get to see a flashback after the showing Bruce Wayne as a young man, basically trying to get every skill he can around the world. He's basically trying to get this knife master to teach him how to use knives, basically. And this is when we're introduced to Batman's childhood rival. Now, him and his childhood rival basically fight against each other. The rules state that whoever beats who basically gets to be trained by this master. And it's assumed that Batman lost this match between Ghostmaker, I mean. But yeah, so basically we skip to the present after this, and we get to see that Ghostmaker has found Clown Killer. I believe that's his name, Clown Killer. And yeah, that teenage kid that we learned about in the Joker War, that made his debut in the Joker War. And yeah, so Ghostmaker basically tells him that he doesn't really have any sympathy for criminals. He doesn't care what your reasoning is for. He's basically just gonna kill him. And this basically, sends huge danger signals to, Clown Hunter, I believe is his name. It's not Clown Killer, Clown Hunter is his name. And yeah, so, he's basically gonna kill Clown Hunter. And this is when Batman shows up and basically fights against Ghostmaker to try to protect Clown Hunter. Now, Batman is very skilled, I'm going to say he's in his prime, he's getting older, like he says throughout the story arc, but him and Ghostmaker are around the same age, if not the same age, so it's a pretty even fight. Now, Batman and Ghostmaker basically fight for the heart of Gotham, and this is pretty cool. Now, we've seen Batman fight against multiple people that have the same agenda to try to kill the villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery, but Ghostmaker is supposed to be unique in that he has a childhood connection to Bruce and actually has a lot of the similar training that Bruce had. Because a lot of people, like, let's say Red Hood, was very similar to Ghostmaker. Red Hood actually learned everything he did from Batman and then some from other people. Whereas Ghostmaker basically learned these things from other people and some of the same ones from Batman, it's implied. So you get to see in a flashback that Ghostmaker learns about Batman's history and his past and why he basically, became Batman. He basically tells him about his parents' death. And it's a really cool scene. Ghostmaker, it seems like he's always wanting to prove his skills against Bruce. And it's a really cool dynamic between the two in that they fight every time they see each other. But in this one scene, you get to see that Ghostmaker basically has respect for Bruce and that he lets him mourn the loss of his parents on their anniversary. And it really shows, Batman's mindset in that he always remembers his parents' death, even on, throughout the years. So we just see that Ghostmaker and Batman are duking it out in the present again. And basically, Batman tells Ghost Clown Hunter to basically get away. And whenever, Ghostmaker tries to go and kill Clown Hunter, basically Batman ties him down, pins him down with one of his own swords, Ghostmaker's swords. Now, while this battle is going on with Ghostmaker and Batman, off panel, we get to see that Clown Hunter makes his way into Harley Quinn's apartment and basically tries to kill her off with a swing to the head. Now, during this battle, we get to see that Batman gets thrown through the window, and we get to see that Ghostmaker basically arrives once, Clown Hunter gets defeated by Harley Quinn. Now, Batman is bloodied and bruised, and Ghostmaker basically, tranquilizes all three of them. Basically, making it to where they all go to sleep so that you can transfer them to Arkham Asylum. Now, when they're at Arkham Asylum, we get to see that Ghostmaker plans to keep Batman here while he goes out and cleans the city of Gotham. At least that's what's implied. Now, we get to see that, Oracle, Barbara Gordon, and Dick Grayson basically have this conversation while Dick Grayson's trying to find Batman, that he reveals to her that he actually met Ghostmaker when he was younger, when he was Robin. And this is probably my favorite scene in the entire story arc, because we get to see Robin's interaction with Batman, Dick Grayson, and it really shows that dynamic and relationship that, everyone really loves with these two characters. It makes you really miss, this dynamic between the two, and this is why we enjoy when Nightwing teams up with Batman, because we can see this dynamic come back in a way. But yeah, this scene's pretty nice. We get to see just how close Batman was to Dick, and that he revealed to him who Ghostmaker was, and that he still cared about him in the end. We also get to learn that Batman was the gift recruiting Ghostmaker during the Batman Inc. Story arc, and this is going to come back later on in this arc as something that was included in there for a reason. So basically, we get to see that Clown Hunter is being tested by Ghostmaker by giving him a sword and not tying him up like Harley Quinn and Batman. So he gives him the opportunity to decapitate Harley Quinn and get his revenge for Joker killing his parents. Now, before we get the conclusion of Clown Hunter's decision, we get to see a flashback once again, showing the relationship between Bruce and Ghostmaker when they were about to go off on their journey to become crime fighters. To really start out in Gotham and then wherever Ghostmaker was going to go. It's a pretty emotional scene because they get to really talk about their own viewpoints and how they're going to go about becoming crime fighters. And this is where we get the introduction of that deal that they made where Ghostmaker wouldn't come to Gotham and Batman would stay in Gotham basically and not go anywhere near where Ghostmaker was doing his businesses. So we really got some really good development between the two friends. After this, we get to see that Clown Hunter is going to try to decapitate Harley Quinn, but Batman stops him, basically giving Harley Quinn a chance to escape. So Batman basically attacks Clown Hunter, kind of, just breaking down the situation, making it less tense. This is where Harley Quinn basically tells Clown Hunter that she didn't really want to kill his parents, and that she didn't really kill him, she was just helping the Joker, and that she has been trying to change since then. So it's pretty cool, and we get to see Clown Hunter try to bury his hate and basically, take everything in him to not kill Harley Quinn, but he leaves, and we don't see him for the rest of the story arc, so I'm guessing we're going to delve more into his character in the next arc. But yeah, this is a really big one for that character, and hopefully we can see some more development in how he's going to handle his grief in the future. This is where we go into our final battle, where Ghostmaker reveals that he was there the entire time watching Clown Hunter's decision. Now, for those that don't know, this whole thing is set up in a way to where Ghostmaker basically was just trying to see whose idea would win out, Batman's or his. And the reason why he did that is just he believes his way is the right way, and just killing off everybody that does wrong, that way it can't happen again, and Batman does give people another chance to be, something better than what they are at the moment. Now, if that's right, that's up to the viewer, I think the reader, to decide. But in this story, that was the reason why Ghostmaker basically allowed Clown Hunter to make his own decision so that he could see and validate his own reasoning. When that doesn't work, Batman and Clown and Ghostmaker basically duke it out once again. They have one final sword fight. Now, this is a really cool scene because we get to see it more played out on what Batman was saying, that he believes in second chances, and that Harley Quinn is an example of that. And, you know, that Clown Hunter basically is just a kid at the moment, so he basically can't, you know, go down this path, at least not now. He wants him to have like an innocent childhood, I guess you say, you know, grow into somebody great. So, you know, Ghostmaker basically, Batman tells him that he doesn't want to fight anymore. And he basically, you know, tells him, you know, what's in this. So, Ghostmaker basically throws down his sword. He puts his swords back into his harnesses, and he basically says that he's leaving Gotham. And I really enjoyed this ending. I didn't expect Ghostmaker to get killed off by Batman, or for Batman to put him into jail, because it was shown throughout the story arc that Ghostmaker is as good of a fighter as Batman, if not better. So it just wouldn't have made sense for Batman to just beat him up right here, especially since Batman had just came off with an anesthetic, you know, that Ghostmaker had put on him. So him holding his own against Ghostmaker was pretty impressive, you know, in its own. But basically, Batman gives Ghostmaker an offer to stay in Gotham and help him clean up crime, with the exception of not killing people. So Ghostmaker basically accepts this offer, at least for this moment, to try to give it a try. And the story arc ends with them racing to the crime scene that had just been reported in by Oracle, and it looks like it's going to be a race to see who can get there first. And this is going to be pretty interesting. Now, you know, this is how the arc ends, and I have something to talk about before we end the video, and that is, what can we expect in the next story arc? Now, it looks like the way James Tynion is going about with his run of Batman is that he wants to introduce a lot of new characters to the Batman lore and mythos, but he also wants to introduce new dynamics. So I'm wondering if, since right now Damian Wayne apparently isn't with Batman, if this is supposed to be some sort of like sub for Damian Wayne and a Robin, and having Batman battling crime with his childhood friend, or, you know, whatever you would want to call it, in his teenage years, adult years, young adult years. You know, his rival, basically. So Batman and his rival basically taking on crime in Gotham City. It makes you wonder what the next threat's going to be, and it's going to require both of them to take it down. But yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing Batman, you know, kind of compete with a rival. I'm not sure if we've ever seen anything like this. I haven't read every Batman comic, so I have no idea if this has been done before, but it seems pretty brand new to me, and at least in a modern sense, in a modern take, it is something that seems new, and that hasn't been done for at least a decade or two. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Overall, Ghost Stories, I guess giving my final thoughts, I did think it was good. I wouldn't say it was great. I think Joker War might have been better. I'm gonna have to reread that story arc and then compare the two, but Ghost Stories was actually pretty good though. It was a good story. And it only being 4 issues instead of a 6-issue story arc is pretty impressive for it to be good, because, you know, usually story arcs last for 6 issues. But I do think James Tynion did this because he wanted Ghost Stories to be the final story of 2020. So I bet, you know, Ghostmaker's gonna have a lot more to do in the first arc of 2021, and I will be covering that once it's completed. But that's gonna be all, guys. If you're new to the channel, I review trade paperbacks, basically full stories, on the channel. I do Marvel, DC, and I'm going to be jumping into Image Comics with Spawn pretty soon. So if you're into that, right now I'm doing the JLA Grant Morrison run. I'm already halfway done through the run. I'll leave a link to go check out those at the end of the video, so go click on that. And yeah, until next time, guys, remember, God bless you, and until the next lesson, keep on reading.
I am who I'm meant to be. I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity.